Okay, that's the school bell. Ask Robert is back again. We're back again. Do you have a question?
Yes, Robert. I was wondering what is the metaphysical meaning of the Christmas tree and Santa Claus? What's the story behind that?
Well, anything that lives as a festival, like Halloween or Easter or Hanukkah, I mean, all these things. I mean, the Hanukkah meaning, the Festival of Lights, and I mean, all these festivals that people celebrate, and these magical, colorful imagery, are very important to the. I think there's something to do with the deep inner soul and spiritual articulation of something that could be or might be, or it's either a warning or it's a promise of the future of some beautiful thing that could happen. And when it comes to like Santa Claus and the Christmas tree, it's really amazing because we can talk about the Christmas tree. The ancient Celt would bring in one tree into the giant hall, and the idea was, and the idea was you would light it up. So there's this whole idea of the tree of good and evil and the tree of knowledge, of good and evil and the tree of life. And this idea that we experience the earth of good and evil and external nature, and that we can take in this tree of possibility that's rooted in the ground and reaches to the stars, and you would bring it back into the inner hall. And so you might say that when we die and go to our next lifetime in death and rebirth and reincarnation, we go through the stellar, like in Rudolf Steiner's From Death to Rebirth, the soul goes through the planetary spheres, which are the big ornaments on the tree, of different memories, of different, and so when we have a Christmas tree, we're bringing in a bit of nature into our inner nature, and we're having memories that we had from outside of us that we bring inside to make meaningful and purposeful and present a certain presence to us, the Christmas presence. And so there's seven levels of interpretation, and we don't have time to go through all 7 levels. So I'm going to try to entertain you and bless you with a couple of the meanings. So you have this idea of the cut tree, that a person is cut off from outer life, and we bring our experiences inside. We have that idea from the ancient Celt. But I think it's more fun to think of it this way, that the Christmas tree has the star at the top. So the 3 wise men follow the star to the birth of the Christos, or the holy self, the higher self, at the womb of the heart. The heart spells earth. The word heart spells earth. And so a lot of us don't have the 3 wise men. We haven't trained our thinking, feeling, and willing to be the 3 wise men. And the physical, emotional, and mental become the 3 stooges, or the 3 fools, the triple fool, or the 3 musketeers who are always intellectual and sword fighting. In the tarot, the swords are the air. And so the 3 wise men follow the star. And if you're not ready for the star at the top of the cornucopia is a vortex that comes out, and all these gifts come out at the bottom of it. A bounty of material, sometimes very good, nourishing gifts, And so if you're not ready for the star of initiation at the top of the tree, the star of initiation, the 5-pointed star over that you see in every Mason lodge, and you see people think that the 5-pointed star is some magical witchcraft, magical good or bad sign. And really is the deal, the reason that Hollywood turned it into a bad sigil, the 5-pointed star, in the 50s and 60s, they made all these horror movies, and they made you afraid to meditate and go inside yourself. You might find the bad guy or the devil or something, or a boogeyman or some scary thing. And the 5-pointed star really goes back to Adam and Eve and eating from the tree of knowledge, good and evil, and they have the tree of knowledge where they become immortal by eating this apple. And but they have to die and get born again. They're immortal, but they have to die and get born again. They kicked out of the Garden of Eden. But when you cut the apple one way, you get the Vesica Pisces, like the shape of the eye. The Vesica Pisces as 2 circles that come together, that image for marriage, these 2 circles come together and they form that little like moon-shaped Vesica Pisces thing, almond-shaped. You could probably find other body parts that looks like too, but it looks like the eye. And the Eye of Horus, and you have this idea of the apple as the source from the tree, the golden apple, the golden apples that are supposed to help you be immortal. There's a mythology that goes way back. But basically speaking, we're talking about like Santa coming from the North Pole above our head. In esoteric anatomy, occult anatomy by Manly Haw, you can see other elements of what I'm talking about. But see, the man from the north, the mysterious man from the north, he's the initiate that sits in the empty chair at many a meeting of spiritual individuals. And that man from the north is Santa. And so if you're ready, the Sanat smells, it smells and tastes the same. Sanat, Sanat Kumara, the virgin angel, chief of the other angels. Sometimes it's Michael. So many years they switch which angels. Blavatsky and Steiner talk about this in the Four Seasons and the Archangels. And Blavatsky talks about Michael being the angel of the time spirit we're in now. But really, we have this idea of the man from the north that comes down from the top of your head, Crown Chakra, and comes down out the fireplace of the fiery nature of the sexual center. So the man from the north comes down as a fire that descends from above. Not the Kundalini that comes up from below, but the Kundalini that descends onto the apostles in the upper chamber with Mary. In the Christian terminology, after the death and resurrection of Christ, they meet at this upper chamber. Well, that's the head that's still in the third eye. And so the man from the north comes down, Santa comes out the fireplace, which symbolizes metaphysically the sex center, to see if you've been good or bad. And if you've been good, you get presents that keep you in the game because you weren't able to follow the star to the north. You weren't able to become the man in the north or the woman in the north. And the star or the angel, you weren't able to become an angel. And, and this is back in when Jupiter conjuncted Saturn and Mars was there. It was like back around the time of Christ. There actually was a Jupiter-Saturn with Mars that came so close together. And a lot of people think that was the star of Bethlehem, but some people say that it was also Apollonius Tyana, who also got crucified. I mean, there's a lot of people, Mithras got crucified. There's a lot of like other solar spiritual beings. Rudolf Steiner makes the big point of picking one, and that the Christ came and we all got an I am, and he speaks very highly of this in his foundation stone meditation that is laid for the new Gertianum, that is the whole temple of the world, and it's the whole rhythm of the world that's in our heart, the rhythm of our heart conversing and singing with the world, evolutionary impulse. So the man comes from the north and comes down all the way out the sex center. This is symbolic. And if you're ready to follow the star, the three wise men follow the star with spiritual virtue, moral mind training, like at the Mayflower Bookshop in Berkeley, all these books, that you can train your thinking, feeling, and willing to follow a higher self that's within all of us. It's within the heart, and it's over our head. It's intrinsic and transcendental. And Christmas, this Christmas tree thing, everybody does it, and they can't explain it. And all the ornaments, there's a mini winding path to the Mount Muru, all the mountain visionary quests of the shaman in ancient India. And the Jews have their sacred mountain. And Mount Tabor, there's a sermon on the mountain. This idea of Jesus going to the mount for a transcendental experience and seeing Elijah and others, Abraham. This mountain is the mountain of the heart, but it can be over your head too. And so if you're ready, you go for the star of initiation, the 5-pointed star that brings you back into the Garden of Eden and the tree of life, and you transcend good and evil and transcend knowledge like the chess players. The Templars, the good Templars, created chess and tarot cards. I talk about this in one of my books. And they came about it in the 1300s and 1400s. So the Christmas tree basically is You follow the star to initiation, and if you're not ready, you get all these presents down at the bottom to keep you incarnating. And you want something, man. And you come back and they're going to give you a present to keep you in the game. You want something. Desire and fear will keep you incarnating in a repetition. But emptiness, stillness, and virtue come together in your heart to produce a higher consciousness. Bless your heart. Thank you for asking that question.
Thank you, Robert.
So you see, the word Santa spells Satan. It's the same letters. So if you're a materialist at Christmas, you're only into materialistic goods. You're forced to buy people presents. They're forced to buy you presents. You often tell them what to buy you, or you're disappointed. And so there's a materialistic side where it's more what they would call, there is no devil outside of ignorance and delusion and non-virtuous action causing suffering that doesn't bring enlightenment or healing. And so, but also Santa spells Sanat Kumara, who sits under the Bodhi tree that Buddha got enlightened. He sits in silence, and all of his students are enlightened. Because most people don't have silence. If they just could sit still in their heart with awareness, with no thought or feeling, no motion, just pure awareness, 3 to 5 minutes a day, you could get enlightened. So Santa, the real Santa, is a holy man from the north that wears a red suit of the fire of the Holy Spirit and the starry north. And he has a smile and he laughs and he comes down the chimney. It's a reverse of Kundalini. It's really beautiful. And so Merry Christos and happy ever renewable you. So I know I'm saying too much here. So you get the apple from the Garden of Eden, the apple in your eye. There's a lot of metaphors and symbolism of the apple and what it means. Johnny Appleseed. There's so many people that tried to figure out the apple. You cut the apple one way and it's a 5-pointed star. And this is the spiritual star we're trying to find of the transformation of the 5 senses into the 5 Buddha families or the 5 states of higher consciousness. And when you cut the apple the other way, you get this Vesica Pisces, this symbol of 2 circles joining with that ship, the Argo, the ship. And I think that is between the 5 and the 2 points that form the back and the front of the ship. You have the 7 states of consciousness. This is very esoteric, basically the evergreen tree is that there's something in us that never dies, and we take in the experience of our life and nature, and we ornament the tree with our best memories and our loving friends and thoughts. And we try to follow the star at the higher part of ourself and each other. So, nothing's right unless it works. There's not like a perfect answer to anything. It's kind of like, I think that metaphysics is a search for truth in the relative world and the more ultimate world of love and higher truth. The right answer is when you can learn something that makes your life better, and the negativity cuts down, and people are a little more hearty and spirited and soulful and nice to each other, and we can learn to love the whole earth. I think the right answer, the right metaphysical truth about any festival or the symbolism of Christmas or Hanukkah, the 8 candles reaching the higher octave, like in music. The right answer, the right reflection is what enters your action to make the world a better place, and that one can free themselves from dumb suffering that doesn't bring illumination and freedom. So make music, have friends, garden the backyard, and bless your heart. Talk to you next time. The real gift of Christmas or the New Year or Solstice or Hanukkah, the real gift we give each other is our purest, highest, ideal self, and the virtue of our presence, to witness and to participate and to joy and celebrate each other's virtues and creative artistry. I hope that made sense.